All right, it's the DSP on Dash Radio, joined with someone who I feel like should just have a segment on the show. He's been on here that many times. Hazlett joins us. He's just dropped his Thundering Hopes EP, mate. Stuck in Brizzy at the moment, are you?
Yeah, I'm in Brisbane, just twiddling my thumbs.
Well, more than twiddling your thumbs, you managed to get all those tracks together that we've been playing over the last year here on the DSP, and you've created the Thundering Hopes EP. How does it feel to have it kind of like finalized, finished and out and, kind of done with for now?
I was talking to Freddie, the guy I write and produce everything with, back in Sweden. And he's like, so are you excited? I'm like, I'm stressed out. He's like, why? I'm like, well, it's out now. Like now I have to finish another one. And he's like, well, you should probably stop and enjoy this one a little bit. I was like, no. Like, I'm under the pump now. Like, we got to work on EP3.
So are you enjoying it right now, having this out? Like, because, having singles out is a bit of a difference, like pushing people to listen to one track. But now you're like, here, go and digest this project as a whole. Like, are you enjoying this moment?
Yeah, I'm enjoying the fact that it's now because like when I start everything, I like get a vision for it, piece it together. And so it's good having that kind of storyline, even from the first EP. Like I thought long term when I started doing this all was like first EP needs to flow into the third EP and then I'm going to think about doing an album. So now that it's like people can see the connection between the old songs flowing into this and even just little things like the orders of the song, like it's good that it's reaching people and people actually like understanding the storyline of it all and like listening into it start to finish. And it's like nothing more satisfying and rewarding or like a bigger compliment you can get from someone than them being like, I'm going to play it from track 1 to 6. And I'm like, thank you. And
understand kind of like start to break down some of the themes through the songs and the reasoning behind why you kind of pieced it together like this.
I had a message from a guy this morning who was like, thank you so much for your songs. Like it's really helping me go through a breakup. And I was like, okay, what I want you to do, because this happened to me. I'm like, listen to the first EP, track 1, listen to track 6, and then go straight into the second EP and let it flow, because the second EP is all about me finally getting back to my normal self and feeling good again, and that will help you transition. And he got back to me like within the hour, and he was like, wow, I get it.
So you're talking EPs, and this is something that I get asked by, listeners all the time, the difference between EP and album and why artists, maybe do 2 or 3 or 4 EPs before they get to the album. For you right now, you're thinking EPs. What's the reasoning behind that for you as an artist?
It's a little bit like I dabbled in writing all 3 EPs when I first started. And so I had kind of little touch points of what I wanted sonically things to sound like. But then the more and more I thought about it, we thought about making it into an album. But the more and more I thought about it was that just my doorbell's going off. It's great.
Who's at the door? Do you order some Uber Eats or something?
I'm sure my dog will answer it. So the idea with the EPs is just like, it's a bit creative side and also logically. Like on the logic side, it's like people are so attention poor these days. There's so many things that people can do for stuff. So who am I to think that I can take someone's attention for a full 50 minutes for an album? Whereas like an EP is broken down into 23 minutes. It's like that's a drive to work or like a commute to like school or something like that. I feel like I'm not being selfish trying to take 23 minutes of people's time. Yeah. And then also on the creative side, it's like, I've got so many ideas and so many different directions that I want to go in. It's easy to transit between different moods and feels like that. That's like, I think it's good to chop and change up at the moment and just figure out what I really want to do. And then eventually when it comes to it, have an album out. My dog just arrived, by the way.
Did your dog ring the doorbell and then decide like, all right, now I'm ready to get in there?
I have no idea. He just came down here and brought me a teddy bear.
Oh, what a talented dog, mate. So like talking about that, you got 5 songs plus the live version of Fireworks on the EP. Yeah. Was it kind of like, and they all kind of like congruently go together so well in the sound and kind of like the themes of the songs. Was it did you have to like cut things out that you wanted to put on like for other songs, or did these ones really sit so well together that you were like, they sound perfect together? I'm going to leave that as one EP and then I have a different sound for my next one.
I think they were almost written, in order.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Fireworks was the first one that we wrote.
Yeah.
Suncats was the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Monsters was the third. But they all just worked out really well in the way they were written. They flowed together. I had some other song ideas that I started, and we even started recording some, and they just didn't fit. And it was the same when we did the first EP. Some of those songs didn't fit, so I was like, we need to save them for later. Like they're not ready yet. I guess they're like, bottles of wine you put away. You're like, need to marinate these little quick.
Yeah.
And just like, we'll assess them later. So I've got some stuff ready for the third that didn't quite make this EP.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about this new song that is the only one that got released on this EP that we hadn't heard before, Karaoke, and appreciate you also announcing and letting us know that this EP was coming on our Instagram live chat that we did maybe a couple of months when we were really in isolation. And you talked about this being a song in LA in a karaoke scene with someone who you would not let us know about.
It was in New York, actually.
Oh, in New York. All right. So, this song, now that it's out there, the world has listened to it. How did, what are you talking about in this song for your purposes?
So I was in New York, and it just so happened my friend was there at the same time, like one of my best friends. And we're both there. I was taking around the EP, shopping it to labels, trying to get a record deal.
Yeah.
And he was in town playing a gig. So we're both like, very focused on getting some work done. And we're like, oh, let's go out and have a low-key dinner, keep it quiet. We've got stuff to do. So we're sitting at dinner, and suddenly he gets a text message, and he just looks up at me. He's got like a little glint.
Little grin on the grimace.
Yeah. And he was like, he's like, do you want to go hang out with Lindsay Lohan? And I was like, yeah.
Yes.
Like, sure. If I ever put some memoirs together, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm not passing up this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So we went up and met up with her, and like went to her hotel, and there's a black Escalade waiting out the front, and we get in and we wait, and then she jumps in and we pick up a bunch of friends. We go to a bar, like uptown in New York, and then everyone thought the bar was really boring. So someone was just like, oh, how about we go to karaoke, like down in Chinatown? And I was like, this night can't get any better. So like go to karaoke. I'm like sitting there like kind of getting really nervous. I'm like, oh, it's Lindsay Lohan. I got to impress her.
Yeah. What song am I going to pick here? This is a big decision.
Pick a song.
Yeah.
I don't want to pick Toto Africa because I'm going to hit the chorus. So I was like, oh, Bruce Springsteen, Dancing in the Dark. Perfect.
Yes. Oh, classic.
Queued it up. I'm sitting there. I'm like more nervous than playing like an actual gig. Like, I was just like sitting in the corner shaking, getting ready. It comes up, and you see the cue coming up of the Bruce Springsteen Dancing in the Dark. I'm like, here it is. I go up to grab the microphone, and she comes over to me, and she snatches the microphone out of my hand.
Wait, like, Lindsay Lohan was like, nah, I don't think so. I'm singing this one.
No, she just, like, she snatched the microphone and she goes, you can't sing that song. I was like, why? She goes, it's my song. I was like, okay, like, I can't, I love Mean Girls. I can't argue with that. Like, I respect you. And so just the night went on. And
so wait, did anyone sing the song? Did she sing it? Did you sing it?
No, the song ended up getting skipped.
Oh, like, come on, Bruce. You can't skip Bruce.
I was like, you can't just put dibs on songs and not sing them.
Yeah, exactly.
But the night kept going. We were there for a while partying and stuff, and then my friend really had to go home, and I was like trying to get him out of there the whole time. I'm like, oh, we got stuff to do in New York. We've got to stay focused.
Lindsay Lohan is not helping us focus right now.
I was like, we need to be in bed by midnight. It gets to midnight. I'm like, come on, we got to go home. He's like, nah, not yet. I was like, okay, 1 a.m. Come on, man, let's go home. No, 2 a.m. He's like, at this point, he can barely talk. So I'm like, 2 a.m., I'm carrying you out of here. And that's so kind of like the song, starts with that whole the crazy night that it was. But the kind of essence of it is this weird, like, maternal instinct that I have to look after my friends, like, at all costs. So, like, when I see one of my friends is getting drunk, I kind of, like, stop drinking and start, like, just paying attention to the room, making sure everything's okay. So it gets to 2 a.m. and
I low-key am kind of like that as well. I always end up being the mum of the group and being like making sure everyone's in the Uber to get home or getting them back to bed. And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't even feel like I've been drinking. I've been like so focused the last like 3 hours.
Looking after everyone.
So did you sing a song? Did you sing a song though?
No, I didn't get to sing a song.
Oh, mate.
So I ended up leaving karaoke, taking him home. You know, we jump in a cab. He throws up in between my legs in the cab. The cab driver's asking me, what's going on back there? And I was like, no, we're Australian. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Because they've got those plastic shields. The cab driver. And then eventually I think the smell started seeping between the plastic. And he was like, wait, there's vomit in the back seat.
Said it was already here when we got in.
Yeah, kicks us out. And I'm like trying to like carry him like, you know, a few blocks back. But we're staying in the same hotel. Yeah. Take him upstairs, brush his teeth, plug his phone in, put his alarm on, tuck him into bed. And that was basically the shortest version of that night.
Well, that's a great one to, like you said, throw in your memoirs one day and you have that Lindsay Lohan story because, you know, Lindsay Lohan, she's iconic and she's iconic for like wanting to party and go hard. So, mate, I wish I was out there.
I just wish I got to sing, you know. I could have really impressed someone.
Well, you know, I know.
I didn't get a record deal from the trip either. So
yeah, well,
real.
all you got to do now is be on The Masked Singer in Australia, and Lindsay Lohan will finally get to hear you sing, I guess.
Maybe we'll do a Bruce Springsteen duet.
I hear there's a cactus, so maybe I feel like you would make a good cactus. Let's talk about the song, although, because there's a line in there that I've loved. Like, it really stood out, and every time I listen to it, it's one of those ones I hear, like, really vividly. Riding coattails, never a part of the dream. Like, for me, and maybe this is completely different, but, like, you know, being in LA and you know, being around people that are famous or made it, and you're kind of, like, living the dream, but not really. You're living the dream because someone else has made it, and you're just kind of riding those coattails, living someone else's dream. Is that kind of like the mentality behind that line right there for you, or was it different?
Yeah, it was a lot like, because, you know, a lot of my friends that I used to play music and stuff with have gone and be like super successful and things like that. And it was more, I always wanted to do my own thing. And, you know, it's, you know, it's so easy to have, you know, someone who's in a position of power or success or whatever and suck up to them and try and get, you know, a bit of a leg up. Yeah. But I just can't do it. Like, and also
you're integral.
And also I feel like if I did it, I wouldn't appreciate it at the same time as well. So it's just like, you know, I've always had this like kind of theory that as long as I can write and make music and, you know, have a roof over my head and occasionally a nice bottle of wine, then I think I'm pretty happy. You know?
Yeah. Then you're winning.
So I think, as long as I do things on my own terms and, you know, this same, you know, the style that I want to do, or like write the songs that I want to sing, that's kind of it for me. I can't, you know, blow smoke up people's ass or like suck up to them to try and get ahead.
Well, and I think that your style and your aesthetic doesn't work towards that anyway. And it's interesting because I look at your aesthetic of like what you put up on social media and then also, you know, how you are and dress and your music, and it all congruently like seems to work so well together, like towards your brand. Do you like think about that when you're putting everything out, like that everything really aligns with that same story and that same kind of personality that you're putting out, or is it just so natural that it just happens?
It's pretty natural how it happens. Like the songs and that kind of really dictate what happens visually. But then when it comes to, you know, artwork and colors and things like that, like I used to do graphic design, so I love putting together things like that just really flow. And I think it's such a extension of the music that needs to be thought about. That, you know, a lot of people don't think about it, or they might, you know, completely outsource it to someone else. But I think even if you're not I've had a lot of musicians and people like that, or, you know, up and coming artists, like slide in my DMs and ask me, they're like, oh, what's like the best advice you can think of? I'm like, before you put any music out, like sit and sculpt visually what you want to do. You might not be able to like achieve it, but if you jot down like ideas of what you want and then take that to someone to help you execute it, that's coming from you personally who's written the songs, and it's just going to, you know, be a lot more honest and congruent with everything that you're doing if you have a say. And, you know, the person who writes the songs knows the songs best and what they should look like.
It's like a mood board. I do that with some of the artists that I work with. I make them do like a mood board of like who they like dresses, what kind of music they like, what cars they like, what shirts, like stuff like that. And then you can kind of like get a good understanding of what lane you kind of like want to kind of be around. Yeah.
And I do it for writing as well. You know, I put mood boards together, and it then becomes something. When I'm writing a song, I'll just bring up the mood board and just put it on the wall or put it on my laptop. So it's like constantly in the corner of my eye while I'm writing. But I think it's such a good asset that people don't really.
What would be on your mood board for Thundering Hopes? What things would be on a mood board for you?
There was a lot of when I did Thundering Hopes, there was a lot of nighttime stuff. There's a lot of flaws, like not flaws as in like accidents or anything, but literal like flaws, like
floorboards, like ground,
just like people's feet and stuff. And
yeah.
It was in a moment when I was writing it. I was kind of like not very confident, and I was constantly always looking down. So I had a lot of these photos of just like almost like sneaker shots of people's feet, or like, you know, the ground at a party where you can see people moving in and out dancing and stuff like that. And it was kind of this thing where, you know, you took so much inspiration looking around, keeping your head down, that eventually when you look up, everything kind of changes. So I had this mood board that kind of flowed from these very ground-bound shots of like people dancing around and stuff into more looking up at the sky. And, you know, it was a weird transition. Like I've got like all these random things. I have random words that I've written down that I've just put in the mood board. You know,
do you feel more confident now having this EP out than when you started with Fireworks?
Yeah, like so much more confident, because it's like, even just like if music wasn't around, it's like I'm so much more confident as a person now.
Yeah.
So it's just like from start to finish of putting that EP out, it's like, I think it's one of the first times that I was like, hey, yeah, I'm an artist. Like, I make music and it's good. I think it's probably like one of the first times I've admitted that like my music is good. And I feel like the biggest like wanker for saying it, but it's like, no,
not at all.
Okay. So it's okay to like what you do. You don't have to constantly be like, it's okay, or like, it's not my best. I'm like, it's the best stuff that I've put out. Like,
and it's like, if you can't love what you're doing, like, and really appreciate it, like, how can anyone else love it? You know, like,
yeah, exactly.
And you gotta be your biggest fan, you know, and I think that, you know, there's obviously ways of doing it where you don't seem like the biggest dick or you're, you know, so full of yourself, but that's great to hear that this process of getting through this EP has helped you get to a place where you're like, all right, I'm an artist, I make good music, now let's work on getting the world to hear this good music that I'm putting out.
Yeah. I'm not going to go full Kanye, but I'll go half Kanye.
You're not going for freaking President 2020 like Kanye, like shit. So what's the plan now? You've got this EP out. What's the next Hazlett move that we're going to be able to see or hear?
I've started writing the third one.
All right.
So I started on the day that it came out. Someone asked me, how are you celebrating? And I was like, I took myself out for breakfast, and now I'm in my room writing EP3, and I've written about 3 songs. And they're like, do you just want to maybe relax? I'm like, I can't relax. You know, there's songs to be written, and then I don't know. I think because it finally got out, it was like a big like weight off my shoulders of constantly, you know, I was doing, because I try and do everything myself. You know, artwork, videos, merch, PR, marketing. You know, I try and do a lot of stuff myself. Obviously, I get other people to help out.
Yeah.
But like, I'm such a control freak that I want to like look after everything.
Yeah.
So it was out, and I was like, cool. Now that it's out, there's actually nothing I can do anymore. It's like either people are either going to like it or they're going to hate it. I can't actually do anything now. So like, it was finally like I can now start writing new stuff, because I couldn't write for so long because it was constantly in the back of my head being like, Thundering Hope's got to go do this for Thundering Hope's, got to do this for the EP, got to contact this person, got to finish this artwork.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that it's out there, like I'm glad, and it's so nice hearing people listening to it, and like it's probably been the best response I've had for putting out music so far. But it's nice being able to finally write again.
Well, man, congratulations on what is an amazing EP, Thundering Hopes. If you haven't heard it yet, make sure you go check it out. And I'm always excited for more music. And like I always say to you, mate, you've got a home here on the DSP whenever you need to be press play on any new music, bro.
Absolutely.